My name is Alex Mathew and with me is
Smriti Choudhary.
I trick you every day. Well, like the name suggests, this show gets you answers to all of your stock-related questions, and you can send them to us on any one of our social media platforms or indeed on the WhatsApp number that should be flashing on your screen any minute now. There you go. So you can send those queries to us and we will get them answered by our experts. We've got a couple of experts to help you out with both your technical as well as your fundamental questions, and we've got Saurabh Jain of SMC Global Securities and Brijesh L of IDBI Cap. Thank you so much to the both of you for taking the time. Now, we are going to focus, as we normally do, on one particular stock at the start of the program. We like to call this Ask Profit Focus. And Smriti will tell you the stock that we're talking about. Smriti?
We're talking about Varun Beverages today, and the reason being the stock has jumped about 17% in trade. If you pull up the chart, it's now it's a little down and hovering around 11%. But the reason is that the company came out with an announcement saying that it'll acquire 100% stake in a South Africa's beverage company for 1,300 crores or thereabouts. The funding shall be a co-investment between a PE fund remaining through a debt fund by Varun Beverages as well. Now, a very interesting point in this that a lot of brokerages came out this morning and they took this into consideration, the development that happened. But most of them have buy ratings, but the target price either remains lower than the current market price or it's equivalent to yesterday's close. So it essentially means that their technical models are not justifying the price that Varun Beverages is currently trading at. It's higher than the target price for the next 1 year. So keeping this in mind, I'll take this Varun Beverages to our experts. Now, I'll come to you, Saurabh, on this. How are you looking at this? The target price, it's either at the current juncture or it's less than the current market price. Is that your expectation as well from the counter?
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me on the show. See, Varun Beverages have been a multi-bagger since the listing. I think the stock is up by close to 20 times. The problem is that a lot of have already been discounted in the prices. If you look at the valuation front, I think if you look at the historical, for example, 3-year book price to book average, it is trading approximately 75% premium to that average. I mean, the stock is trading at 26, 27 times to book value. Largely reflecting all the optimism and the business, the futuristic growth in the prices. So that is why I think the price is close to perfection, and that is why people are looking that yes, the stock is good, but at this price, it doesn't worth to buy. I mean.
Okay, but then what do you do if you're holding? Would you continue to hold, Saurabh?
Yeah, definitely.
Brijesh, what can you tell us about the technicals? Are there any indicators that would suggest that it is still a buy at this juncture on the technical side?
Hi, morning, Alex.
Morning.
So basically, if I do a look at from a technical point of view, it looks more of a distribution from the very short-term perspective. The way it opened gap up, and then there has been a continuous selling in the Varun Beverages. And I do believe this is the levels of 1400 is going to act as a resistance. This is also the higher circuit zone for the Varun Beverages. And today there is a gap up trade, and then the distribution, we can see the distribution with the volumes. So definitely for the time being, I believe this level is going to act as a resistance. And maybe next 1 or 2 days when the news cool off, this gap which we have seen today is likely to be filled. So it's a big gap. So I would be playing for that. So there is no fresh recommendation where I can make any entry point. There are no risk reward ratios favorable at this point. I would, since has this stock has already moved from the levels of 900, anybody who having a positional trade should do this journey, take some profits at this level, and whenever this gap is filled, close to 1170, 1150 level, and then looking at the further structure, I think we can make an entry or something like that. But definitely at this point, I would be taking the profits on one Bridges, because as we also look at the index, we are at the 21,600 level, almost close to those points. So I think profit booking in the market might come, and this will also be we may see some profit booking in the BBL as well.
No, fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point, yeah. So we are at elevated levels, and in fact, by the way, we've got an interesting piece of research which we will tell you about tomorrow at around 8:15. So if you're watching this right now, you should tune in tomorrow at 8:15, and we'll talk about how this current cycle measures up to the other cycles that have played out over the last decade or so, 3 cycles that we're comparing it with. But it's time to jump straight into the queries, and we've got quite a few that have lined up. Just a quick reminder, if you've got questions for us, you can send them to us on our WhatsApp number as well as on the YouTube channel or any one of our social media platforms. The first one that I'm taking is from Sudarshan. Sudarshan is writing in from Chennai and wants to know about a couple of counters. One is REITs and the other is Chennai Petroleum. Both of these are counters that he has identified for the long term, and he has defined that as 3 years. So first on the fundamentals, Saurabh, I'll come to you. What do you make of these two counters, REITs and Chennai Petro?
See, REITs is a very good infrastructure proxy. I mean, if you look at the numbers, the company is posting decent set of numbers with good order book in hand. If one is looking for the long-term perspective, I think one can go long.
Next up, we have a question from Anirudh. He's written to us on YouTube and he's talking about Aavas Finances. He's already bought shares at 1460 levels. The share is currently around 1538. He wants to sell within 1 year, and he wants to know the target and stop loss on this specific counter. Brijesh, how does it look on the charts? Do give us the stop loss and the target for the next 1 year, if possible.
Yeah, so specifically Aavas Finance, I'm positive on the structure because technically there is some divergence which is seen in the Aavas Finance. So it's a positive. So all this correction, what we saw in Aavas is now going to reverse. So in the recent last couple of days, there has been a correction. I think this is an opportunity to re-enter. The stop loss would be close to 1480 level. And I think one should hold on to the long position, 750 plus, 1750 plus is what I see. The previous resistance was somewhere close to 1800 mark. So I am pretty confident that maybe from the 1 year perspective, 1750 to 1800, that would be the bounce for the Aavas Finance. I think the current price, whatever the declines we are seeing, is a very good opportunity to re-enter the long positions.
Okay, this is a question that is coming from K.S. Shivakumar and he's writing in from Bengaluru, and I think it's not a specific question on a stock, but I think it's an important question to take nonetheless, because I think a lot of retail investors are of this opinion that buying a stock that is priced low is advantageous because one, it is affordable, and also two, the opportunity to grow from this stage is significant. So they tend to buy stocks that have a ticket price that is low and close to that 10 rupee mark because they think that it is affordable. Saurabh, I want you to explain why this is not necessarily appropriate and why the ticket price is not necessarily an indication of the cost of the stock, that it's not expensive or cheap because of that.
See, while investing, it is very important to take a note that how the company is progressing, what is the balance sheet, in which sector the company operates, and how the numbers look, what is the management guidance. This becomes the foundation of investing. So largely, you have to invest in company in which there is a good amount of potential future growth, profitability, etc. is there. So it is not necessary to invest in a penny stock or the stock which is priced close to 10, 20, 50 rupees. The point that matters is that you are building your portfolio to create wealth and for creation of long-term wealth. I can suggest, some sectors that are looking good for 2024 are the PSU banks, private banks, capital goods, utilities. These are the area where you can invest. For example, the stocks like SBI, Union Bank, Indian Bank, Larsen & Toubro. In the IT sector is also looking good for 2024. HCL, for example, TCS.
So why don't I suggest this, Saurabh? Instead of giving a whole laundry list, let's give them 5 stocks that they can look at and they can comfortably add on a staggered basis in an SIP mode over the coming months. So name 5 stocks that you would think are a reasonable portfolio to begin with.
I think one can buy SBI, JSW Energy, Larsen & Toubro, Reliance, and maybe HG Info.
All right. Next up, we have a question from Naresh Thakur. He's talking about Varroc Engineering. He's bought at 565 levels. Currently, it is trading around 545. Should he continue holding it or should he exit? Brijesh, what's your view on this?
The daily and weekly structure is positive. I think the stock is going to see some momentum. Today, again, from the technical perspective, there has been a buying. I think the recent high was close to 580 levels. I think those levels will be taken out. So I believe we should be holding the positions close to 600. We can further review what action has to be done. But definitely another 50 points move is there in the Bevco engineering. One should hold and ride this momentum.
Okay, we've got Ram who's writing in from Coimbatore and asking about Tirumalai Chemicals. He's bought at levels of 200 or thereabouts. Let's pull up the chart and see where it's currently trading. And he's wondering what to do with the stock at this juncture. On the fundamentals, he's making a little bit of money. Saurabh, should he hold on to this one?
I won't be able to answer, not in coverage.
Fair point. All right, let's talk about the technicals then. Let's give him time frames as well and what your stop loss would be on this trade, Brijesh.
Technically, I'm directly looking at the monthly time frame. So, in the last couple of months, there was a correction, and now suddenly, since all the chemical stocks are performing, and I think with the sector, this can perform. Maybe I'm not pretty sure how much upside will be, but then 240 to 45 can be the within the sector. I think this momentum can be seen, which is again 15-20% kind of a gain. So we can specifically play for this move with the current month. So basically the low of the current month is 199. So maybe 198. With that stop loss, I think we'll hold the position.
All right. Next up, we're talking about the count of Vodafone Idea, and Mohit has already got shares of Vodafone Idea at around 8.9 per share. Should he continue holding for the next 6 months? Saurabh, I'm going to come to you on this. Fundamentally, the company is extremely at a weaker point right now. A lot of debt, about 2 lakh crores of debt, and no funding in sight as of now. Should they continue holding for the next 6 months or should they exit?
I think you're absolutely right. If you look at the net worth is negative. The company is losing its subscriber base every month. They have lower ARPUs in the industry. So I don't think so there will be change in their fortunes. So I would rather recommend to exit immediately.
Fair point. And would you then, if you're staying with the telecom space, would you say Reliance Industries is a better play, or would you say that Bharti Airtel is a better play?
I think Reliance is a very good play.
Fair point. State Bank of India was one of the stocks that Saurabh picked in his fundamental picks. And we've got a question coming in from Nagaraja, who's writing in from Mangalore. And he's asking about the short-term outlook for State Bank of India. It's a stock that has gained quite handsomely in the recent past. It has caught up with quite a few of its banking peers. But what are the prospects from this point on? Brijesh, what are the charts indicating to you?
I think PSU basket is the positive basket, and whenever there is a correction, we do look at buying SBI, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, and Federal doesn't come on the PSU, but then Federal is also one of them. And if you specifically look at the SBI, it's given a very strong breakout. I think maybe another 50 odd points from the current level, this momentum close to 750. From the 650 to another 100 points will definitely in the short term is poised for the State Bank. I think we need to hold the position. Even though if we see some amount of correction, we'll view it as a buying opportunity for the SBI. 750 should be the reasonable target for the momentum. So maybe another 6 months down the line, I think we should see that.
All right. Next up, we're talking about the counter Tata Power. This is from Vimal, and he's written to us on WhatsApp. He says, should he buy at the current level, and what is the best strategy for buying these shares? Should they maybe postpone it for a couple of quarters, or is it a good time to buy Tata Power? Brijesh, what's your take on this?
Tata Power, madam, we are extremely bullish. This was one of our Diwali pick, which we already achieved the target. The Tata Power, I think close to 320 would be the level from again the buying should start. So maybe right now some profit booking can be there. Today again the stock was up, but then in the next couple of days, whenever there's opportunity close to 320 level, I think that should be the view. I think we are talking of 450 plus levels of the Tata Power. So from 320, once you start buying the stock is what I believe.
Okay, another kind of a trivia question. If you are holding shares of a company, Saurabh, that is delisted, how do you sell shares of the company? And this specifically is a question on Hexaware Technologies, and we've got this question coming in from Mr. S.G. Das. What would you say?
See, if the company has got delisted, you have to contact the registrar. There is always a window for the shareholders who are left, who were not able to tender their share in the delisting process. At the delisting price, your share will be accepted and the money will be given to you. So you have to contact the company registrar.
Okay. Next up, we're talking about Godrej Properties. Now, Binu says he's already bought the shares at 1850 levels. What is the target he can expect in the next 1 year? So, Brijesh, any targets you can give us for Godrej Properties?
I'm not very sure how 1 year structure would look like, but this momentum is positive. From the levels of 1800, the stock has seen a breakout, and close to 2200, 2250 is what the momentum is look like. So maybe he can ride to 2250, and whenever it comes close to 2250, we'll review, because overall the realty sector is positive. So maybe close to those levels if the overall the fundamentals are further strong, and he can ride it. But right now at this juncture, 2250 is what he should be looking at.
All right. Gentlemen, we have to slip into a very quick break, and viewers, we'll be back before you know it. Keep your questions ready, and we'll be back and take all of them. Do stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, and if you haven't written to us already, you can ask your questions on the YouTube live chat or on the WhatsApp number that's on your screen right now. Or you can also call us and talk to us directly. We'll take stock-related questions.
We
may just do that, right? But let's start off with more questions now. We have the first one is from. We're talking about the counter Sando Manganese, and this one's from Kamal. He's already bought shares at 1700 levels. The share is currently trading around 2650. So a good profit there. I'm going to come to you, Saurabh, on this. If you have coverage on this stock, they haven't shared the investment horizon for this particular share, but for a longer term, would you say that they should continue holding it?
The expectation is that metal and mining companies will do well in 2024. So I am expecting that the metal prices are some metal prices are rising and some are and there is a room for further rise in 2024. So in that sense, I think I would recommend to hold on.
We've got a question coming in on Tata Steel and also on Tata Tech, by the way. Mr. Raju has asked us questions about various stocks. So I'm going to choose just two of them. Tata Tech, since it's a recently listed company, I'll come to you on the fundamentals, Saurabh. What do you make of it at the current price? Is it still a buy? And Tata Steel, would you buy this at this current price?
See, the issue came at 500 rupees, and the stock is quoting at more than 1200 rupees. So on the valuation front, all the juice which was there has been gone. So if you are interested for looking next 3 to 5 years, then it makes sense to buy this stock.
All right. Next up, we're talking about ITD.
But did you make a point on Tata Steel?
See, as far as Tata Steel is concerned, I think European operations are still in problem with respect to Tata Steel. So if you want to play metal, I would rather recommend to buy JSW Steel.
All right. Next up, we're talking about ITD Cementation. This one's from Muthu Kumar, and he's already bought shares at 175 levels. The share is currently around 292. He wants to know the long-term view on this. Saurabh, looking at the fundamentals, how does it look? More gains in the future?
Yeah, of course. I mean, with the industrial growth in play in 2024, it is expected to further strengthen. I think the ITD cementation is doing good. The operations on the operation side, the numbers are also good. So I would recommend for a hold for long.
Okay, Tata Power. When is the best time to enter? Is the current price a good level? And what is the best strategy with regard to Tata Power? We got Vimal tuning in from New Delhi and asking about this. Brijesh, on the charts, what would you recommend?
I think, Alex, we just spoke before that Tata Power is very good bet. 450 is what we are looking at. Recently there has been a rally. So the entry point, the start from the levels of 320. So 320 to 300. This is a range when I believe for the long-term perspective we can make an entry point. So that is a minimum correction which I expect in the Tata Power in the near term. So whenever it comes to 320, within the range of that 15-20 points, I think one can look to add the positions.
All right. Next up, the question is from Akshay from Varanasi, and he's talking about Siemens Limited. He's already bought shares at 2,267. Should they sell or hold it? They're mainly concerned about the energy sector on a whole. But this specific stock has been on an uptrend in the last couple of sessions. Saurabh, fundamentally, how does it look?
Fundamentally, there is no problem with the company. The stock has given a lot of, has risen a lot in 2023, and the company is expected to do well in 2024. So in that sense, I think it makes sense to hold on for another one.
Okay. We've got a question on Jubilant FoodWorks, and this is from Swans. I'm pretty sure that I'm getting your name wrong. Writing in from Tamil Nadu, Chennai. The question is, would you hold or would you sell? I do not know the buy price either. But on the fundamentals, Jubilant FoodWorks trading at 579 or thereabouts. Is it a hold or a sell if you're holding right now, Saurabh?
See, management has has initiated altogether a new campaign, advertisement campaign, and management is quite confident of making more inroads and making pizzas of every day's life. So in that sense, I think Jubilant Food is expected to do well. I would recommend a hold.
Okay, what about the fundamental? What about the technicals, though, Brijesh? On the charts, how does it look?
Yeah, so from the charts perspective, 600 is the level where some resistance will be there. This is a technical reasoning. There is some resistance which I can see. If 600 is taken out, then you can surely wait for another 150 to 180 points on the higher side. So immediately further will be seen at 600 level. So need to keep a watch on those points. If it's already in the money, some partial profit booking can be done. And once we have a confirmation about 600, then re-entry can be made.
All right. Next up, we're talking about SpiceJet shares. Now, it's been in the news for the last couple of days, and it hit its one-year high yesterday as well. But there's some downtrend in the stock today. It's down 3%. There's some Santosh, and he wants to know if he should hold this counter for the longer term. Saurabh, how do you look at this?
See, I don't like this space. I mean, if you look at the balance sheet is in red. I mean, there has been news that the SpiceJet want to buy some airlines also. When they are not able to manage their own book, how they would be able to manage the other airline? And on top of it, I don't like this business at all. So in that sense, I would recommend a sell.
Okay. What about Jubilant Ingreva? We've got Usha who's tuned in from Hyderabad, and she's bought a year back, or rather she's bought at levels of 560, and she's looking to hold for about a year or so, and she's wondering what the target should be. On the fundamentals, is this a good hold according to you, Saurabh?
Won't be able to give comment, not in that.
Fair point. All right. What about the technicals then? 1 year target, do you have enough data to give us a level to watch out for?
I think, Alex, the structure is positive, so I hold on to the positive view. In the recent week, there has been a rally, 570, 575 at the resistance zone. So I think I'll hold the stock and I'll ride till those points. Maybe in between, if there's a very heavy selling, then I need to figure out. But then right now, it looks there can be some momentum can be there. Close to 550, 570 is what I think it can move.
Specific question for Saurabh. This one's from Soumyan from Kolkata, asking about Ircon and RVNL. What is the recommendation on these two, Saurabh?
See, both stocks have run up a lot higher on the valuation. If you are holding on to it, I mean, keep on holding. No fresh buys.
Okay, fair point. All right, that brings us to the end of this edition, unfortunately, of Ask Profit. But, we'll be back tomorrow. Experts, thank you so much, Saurabh, as well as Brijesh, for answering all the questions that you did answer. And viewers, well, we took as many questions as we possibly could today. We'd like you to join in tomorrow as well, because we'll be back at 11:30 sharp to take all of your questions. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up over the course of the day. And this is NDTV Profit.